Folks, it is time. The plug, pull it. Tua Tagovailoa cannot be the quarterback of this football team any longer. I know he is in the first year of that massive 4-year contract extension he signed before the 2024 season. But we have just seen so much evidence that he cannot be the quarterback because he lacks leadership. But then when you factor in the declined play, the inability of having physical traits to bail out this Dolphins offense, it's a shit show with Tua in Miami right now. And I think it's time to bench Tua. And I'll explain why throughout today's show. But let me know, do the Dolphins need to bench Tua for the rest of the season and essentially for the rest of his life? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I alluded to it in the open. He has, without a question, made the Miami Dolphins a worse football team. I think I'm confident in saying that. In terms of when you look at the average quarterback, he is way, way below average. And if you are below average, you are making your team worse. He leads the National Football League in interceptions with 10. He is tied with Geno Smith with the 10 interceptions. He has a career worst 82.8 QB rating and a QBR of 50.5. It has been ugly, ugly, ugly for Mr. Tua. And it's actually been back-to-back games with 3 interceptions. 3 against the Chargers, 3 against the Browns. His turnovers come in bunches, which is the most frustrating part of it. It feels like he either throws none and has no turnovers, or he has 2 or 3. I saw someone bet it. I think it's a good bet. If you see Tua throw an interception early in the game, bet that he'll throw another because it's likely going to happen. I mean, you look at some of his advanced stats this year. Out of 34 qualified quarterbacks this year, he ranks 27th in QB rating, 22nd in turnover-worthy play percentage, 29th in ADOT, 23 in EPA per dropback, and 18th in completion percentage over expected. He is below average in every single statistical category and has been hurting this team. Watching him play this season is like watching a different person. Like, I get it. The offensive line was good. The rushing a game was good. You had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But put up the film of 2023 Tua in comparison to 2025 Tua, and you would, believe that, they swapped his body for a different person. It looks so, so bad. He's panicky. He's not confident. And he lacks the physical traits in terms of leading an offense. And he is almost overwhelmed consistently right now when you watch him play. I get it. The offensive line is doing him no favors. You have a horrible offensive line with Larry Borum, Jonas Savianaya, and Cole Strange. But, it's still not good whatsoever. And you can't defend it. And here's the most damning of it all, right? He has a 30.9% pressure rate on dropbacks this season. Fun fact, that actually ranks bottom 10 in the NFL. So you could say that's a lot of Tua getting the ball out of his hands quickly, so he's actually not pressured more than it is the O-line, because the O-line has certainly struggled. But when you look at his numbers when pressured, it just gets worse and worse. His completion percentage is actually top half, but big time throw percentage, bottom 10. Turnover-worthy play percentage, bottom 10. His ADOT, so when he's pressured, his average depth of target is the lowest in football. And his QB rating is 20th. Whether it's a clean pocket, whether it's against pressure, it's been a hard watch. And, the word that I always have been using this year when describing Tua is panicky. That is the word. When he drops back to throw and he feels pressure, his throw, it just comes off weak. He gets flustered and just, wings it, and it goes off target. I don't want to go out of line here and cross a line, but it feels as if the last concussion he had last season against Buffalo really did damage his confidence. He always said that, I like contact. I want to be hit. It feels good to be hit. Well, the way that you throw the ball when a defender is barreling in on you would tell a different story. Because it looks like a guy who is scared to get lit up. And I get it. They've told you protect yourself, and you're trying to get rid of it to protect yourself so you don't land and snap your head back. But when a guy is coming in on him, straight at him, or he feels pressure from the left tackle, right tackle, he just gets flustered. He just spins around like he makes bad throws. Then, geez Louise, it's a hard watch. It is. It's terrible. I know some people might not like this video, but hey, listen, we cover the Dolphins and we want the Dolphins to succeed. Not individuals, the team. And we are going to be here every step of the way, hopefully for the next time the Dolphins find success. Subscribe to the channel for daily Dolphins coverage. So as we progress through today's show, I showed some stats and everything in between about Tua this season. Let's talk about actually moving on from him. Now, you're not cutting him this season. It's just not happening. But could you cut him in the offseason with 3 years left on his contract? The out was always after 2026 before the final 2 years of his contract. But with how bad things have been going right now, is it crazy to say a new GM and new head coach that you hope to God is in place this offseason could move off of Tua this upcoming offseason? Seriously. Like, if you look at his numbers for 2026, he currently has a cap hit of $56.4 million. If you cut him or trade him before June 1st, it's a $99.2 million dead cap. If you cut him after June 1st, though, the dead cap is only $67.4, which means you're only taking on an extra $11 million in cap for 2026 to cut him this offseason. And I got to be honest, I'm willing to do that. Because if you do cut him, it saves you about $26 million for 2027, and it saves you $60 million in 2028. Now, those savings will likely take place anyways if you just cut them before the 2027 season and after the 2026 season, but I'm willing to do it a year before because you're going to keep him on the contract for $56.4 million as a backup, or do you just say, I'd pay him $11 more million to not cause a distraction and be the backup? I actually think it's worth it. I do. I would pay an extra $11 million to not have him on the roster next season. Because why would you want to deal with the distraction if you bring in a rookie quarterback or a bridge guy? Don't do it. You see the Falcons, they've dealt with it. Now they've been able to move on and do a good job of handling it with the Kirk Cousins situation. And that's kind of the same thing here as Miami, right? It's either you keep him as a backup for $56 million, because I don't think anyone's trading for him, or you cut him and have a $67 million dead cap. It's a tough decision to make, but I'm willing to cut him. More coming up here in a second, but this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day. Way better than Tua's decisions, by the way. The right decisions on Prize Picks, you can get paid. So simple, just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks, the only app that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Devon Achane rush attempts, receptions, and touchdowns? Well, now you can, only on Prize Picks. You can win cash this football season. How about basketball season, which tips off this week? Take advantage of the max discount, more than half a point for Steph Curry. I got that paired up with Nikola Jovic and Paolo Banchero, more than rebounds, assists, and less than 25.5 points. That's my entry for the first couple days of the basketball season. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is good to be right. Like, if you bench Tua, there's a lot of other reasons why it may be worth it, right? Why not see what you have in the 7th round rookie, Quinn Ewers, who you drafted out of Texas, former number 1 overall recruit, 5-star guy, projected first-round pick, really struggles in his final season for the Longhorns, ultimately goes in the 7th round. Now, Miami upgraded him to QB2 for this week against the Browns, and he actually saw 12 snaps in the fourth quarter after they moved Tua to the bench. And before the game, Barry Jackson was told that Ewers was moved to QB2 because he has looked really good on the scout team, and they like his work ethic. They like how he's been preparing, and they love his arm talent, which certainly is very, very good. It would be a tough decision to see who's got the best arm talent on the Dolphins, whether it's Ewers or Zach Wilson. I still lean Zach Wilson a little bit. That dude's got a freak arm, which is why he went number 2 overall. Everything else didn't work out for him, though. But they felt like he was ready to play in a game if needed, and, well, he was on the field. And, listen, I know it's tough. It's 12 snaps and a blowout, but I don't think Quinn Ewers was very good. But you do see the potential with Ewers. You see the room for growth. Like, I want to highlight one play in particular because it was really bad for Quinn Ewers. But this play was elite quarterback play and why you might see the potential for him in the future. Shotgun snap here at your own 17-yard line. You take the snap, and I want to look at the offensive line. Look at the left guard, number 72, Jonah Savianaya. This screen grab was 5 seconds. 5 after the snap was had. Jonah is already falling down, bull rushed by the defensive lineman. And Quinn just took the snap. And he has to survey and make a decision based off this. So what he decides to do, he highlights this top guy one-on-one with D. Eskridge. Roll the clip, Cope. Look at this now. Look at where he's releasing this ball. Jonah's firmly on his ass, and the defensive lineman is jumping and lunging, arms stretched, at Quinn Ewers. And Ewers already decided to throw it. Look at where he threw this football. With a man jumping, leaping at his face, offensive lineman at his feet. Look at his base. He's not even stepping into this. Just flick. And he drops an absolute dot to D. Eskridge, who, give D. Eskridge some credit, made a contested catch here. But it was a beautiful ball from Quinn Ewers. This is the type of elite stuff that made him once a projected first round and even in consideration for the first overall selection. Was the rest of the game for Quinn Ewers very, very bad? Oh, yeah, he was terrible. But that one play is why fans and organization members, as well as coaching staff, are intrigued with this kid potentially developing because he's got good talent and we've seen him make big plays. The question is, can he put it all together in terms of his mechanics, his footwork, and his decision-making to be a high-level NFL quarterback? I don't know. But pick a quarterback for me. Would you rather roll with Tua or Quinn Ewers the rest of the season? Type TT for Tua Tagovailoa. Type QE for Quinn Ewers. Now, we could have this conversation as much as we want. I kind of have alluded to I would bench Tua. I'm done with him. I'm moving on. I would be interested to see what I got in Quinn Ewers moving forward. But it's not going to happen. Like, I might want it. You might want it. I got news for you. Quinn Ewers is not going to be starting games for the Dolphins. I'll tell you why here in a second, but let's just show you why that's not going to happen. Adam Schefter said today they're not going to turn to Quinn Ewers. It's too early in the year. They're going to keep riding Tua. He'll be their guy. And then during Mike McDaniel's morning press conference in Miami at mid-afternoon, he announced that Tua will take all of the first-team snaps in practice and remain the starter at least the next couple of weeks. Tua will be the starter this week against the Falcons, and he will certainly be the starter on a short week the following Thursday against the Baltimore Ravens. But the real reason why you cannot expect Quinn Ewers to start in the next couple of weeks or month is Mike McDaniel can't move on. And I don't blame him on this. I'll blame Mike McDaniel on a lot of things. I can't blame him on this because it's simple common knowledge, right? Mike McDaniel's seat is on fire. It's as hot as it gets. He shouldn't even be employed, but he still is. Mike McDaniel, unfortunately for him, married his long-term success in Miami to Tua. As soon as they gave him that contract extension, Mike basically admitted, my career in Miami goes as well as Tua's career in Miami goes. So if you bench Tua, you are essentially admitting you made them right or you made the mistake by extending him, but you also are done for the season. You bench Tua, that is essentially waving the white flag and saying, I can't do my job. You bench Tua, Mike McDaniel's gone. So Mike McDaniel's obviously not going to bench Tua. The only way that you bench Tua and start Quinn Ewers is after you fire Mike McDaniel. Because then that new head coach can make the decision on, okay, do I want to try to marry my success as an interim head coach with Tua or this rookie Quinn Ewers? Because think about it this way. Say, even though Anthony Weaver's defense has been horrible, he is the interim head coach when they fire Mike McDaniel midseason. If Weaver is the head coach as an interim for 6 weeks and he makes the decision to bench Tua and go to Quinn Ewers, and then Ewers lights it up, looks like a Brock Purdy type of guy who was drafted in the 7th round, and looks like a guy you're intrigued with starting going forward, well, you're going to be like, oh, shit. Well, Anthony Weaver was the one who started him, and that's who Quinn Ewers played really well under. It's like, oh, well, we should probably roll with Quinn Ewers again for another year and Anthony Weaver. So you see what I'm trying to say here? Like, the interim head coach will probably make that switch in all likelihood to try to maybe create a way to have him be the full-time head coach. But it's the same thing as McDaniel. He's not going to bench Tua because benching Tua is basically saying, yeah, you can fire me now. All right, I'll do it for today's show. Appreciate everybody for hanging out and watching with us. We'll be back tomorrow with 2 videos and live again on Thursday as well. Subscribe and join the channel.